Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you all had a great week. So it was the second week of Advent, and this week the focus is peace. And it's funny because although I've been really trying to immerse myself in this season of Advent and be more focused on preparing my heart for Jesus and just growing in my faith journey, this week that was supposed to be having emphasis placed on peace was nothing like that. It was not peaceful whatsoever at all. It was probably one of the least peaceful weeks I've had in years. And it's funny because it didn't hit me until we went to Mass this week on how I failed to think at all about peace and preparing my heart in that way at all. So basically this week was a really great week. And it's funny because I didn't film barely anything throughout the week, and I was kind of bummed out about it. And my husband said, "Why haven't you been vlogging? Why don't you just vlog your days?" And I realized, even though in my mind I felt like this was a terrible week for vlogging, actually a lot of stuff happened, and I wish I had vlogged about it because it would have been good to look back on or to show you all. But I guess for now I'll just kind of explain. So the main thing that came up this week was discipline and just my role as a stepmother in discipline, and then just discipline as a whole. Like, how do you discipline children in a world where that is not the cool thing to do, that is not the popular thing to do? And that sounds kind of silly, but that's really how it's becoming, right? My husband had suggested that I watch some Dr. Ray videos, and I had heard the name Dr. Ray, but I'd never paid attention. But then when I was watching the videos, I think he's Catholic, and I think he must do some videos on EWTN. But so that's pretty cool. But I was listening to some of the stuff he was saying about disciplining children, and it was so true. Basically, what he was talking about in this particular video that I watched was how in our world today, kids are expected to get rewards for everything. Like, you take them to a restaurant and they're expected to have a toy come with their meal. And not that toys are bad, but that is what our culture does with kids, is we just give and give and give these physical objects. And so anytime that we do anything less than that, it's appalling to people. And again, there's nothing wrong with toys, there's nothing wrong with gifts, but where it becomes a problem is when the parent wants to instill some sort of discipline. The people around them, family, friends, even strangers, question any sort of punishment, even if it's something that isn't crazy harsh. And that's where I struggle sometimes, because with my boys, and they're so little, I really haven't had to do much discipline yet. When I think of them, I definitely want to be more on the strict side than loosey-goosey side, if that makes sense. I mean, it's really important to me that they are reading good books. I don't want them to read something if I say, "Don't read this book," and they read it anyway. I do want them to have consequences for that. And so there's things like that where some people might say, "Oh, they can choose whatever book they want to read, or they can choose this or that." But I would rather have a little more authority in the matter, because I believe that that's how it should be. I think parents should be enforcing the rules in their household, and if their kids don't listen to it, then they get things taken away and they get consequences. But it's very tough, because with friends, family, and society, that's not what people are doing anymore. The entitlement that we're seeing today, to me, it has to be a result of lack of discipline. And I think there's a difference, obviously, between being so harsh that you're abusive and healthy discipline. And it's hard because I think people are afraid to discipline because they don't want their disciplinarian methods to cause mental health issues or social issues in a child, or any kind of issues, right? So many noises going on right now. But I wanted to get outside because it's not absolutely freezing, so it's kind of nice to be out here. So anyway, the main thing that I guess was kind of on my mind today to share was that this week has taught me that it is important to discipline in the little moments so that you can avoid bigger moments where you have to instill greater consequences, or when children are not listening, that they can end up in a more difficult, dangerous situation if they aren't listening and being respectful in the small issues. And when I'm focused on thinking of problems that I have with other people, for instance, in this situation, our 9-year old, we've been having some problems with listening and stuff like that. But when I'm mad and when I am struggling in that sense, what I like to do is also use it as an opportunity to remind myself of these things and look at my own life from that same lens. And I think, okay, well, where am I not listening? Where am I not following the rules? Where am I lying? Where am I pushing the limits? And although as I reflect, I don't feel like I'm at a point right now where I have any glaring issues that correlate completely to the stuff that we're dealing with from a parental perspective, there are things that come to mind where I'm upset about somebody else doing, that I'm doing something similar in my own life. And this week has been a good reminder for me that now that I'm an adult, I don't have a mom or dad who disciplines me. I have to have self discipline. And so, with that, I've been trying to view myself from an outside perspective, looking at my life objectively a little bit more than internally, although we're always going to look at our own lives from an internal perspective since we experience our own thoughts and feelings in a way that an outsider would not. But this week I've been challenging myself to look at my life from an outside perspective and try to kind of parent myself in a way. Like, for an example, if I tend to leave clothes laying around in my room, I it's a bad habit, and it's, yes, I'm busy, I have kids, and sometimes we're just running around, but I don't like that. I don't want it to be like that. So I have to step back and look at myself and say, hey, you know what, if I just spent 5-10 minutes in my room a day cleaning my room, it would never get to the level it is right now. So I'm trying to do that in a variety of areas of my life, like stepping back and being like, hey, what advice would I give myself in this situation? Or if I was mad at myself in this situation, what would I tell myself to do to correct this problem? And I've noticed in doing that that I've been able to accomplish more things on my to-do list and just grow and be a better, more organized person. One last thought that I wanted to add that came to me last night at Mass was that the priest was talking about how this week's focus is joy. And he was talking about it in the sense of Christmas coming up, of course, and how it's easy to get wrapped up in the presents and the gifts and the stressful family get togethers that we lose our sense of joy. And while, of course, that's true, I also noticed, to me, my problem isn't so much of lack of joy in the Christmas sense, but just in my general life. I think I tend to get very wrapped up in daily life, the daily happenings, and in certain things that I wish would be different, or wishing somebody would listen to me or respect me more or do this or do that. And I'm losing my sense of inner joy. And so I think at Christmas time, I think it's so easy to focus on Christmas, which is good and what we're supposed to do. But if you seem to have a good grasp on Christmas and your Christmas focus is going really well, you're not obsessing over gifts or family or all the hustle and bustle of Christmas festivities, think about your general daily life. Maybe there's something there where you need to implement a more joyful outlook and stay more positive and be more uplifting. That's definitely been the case for me this year anyway. So I just wanted to come on and share those thoughts with you tonight. Hopefully this gave you a few additional things to think about as we are halfway through Advent already. It has gone by so quickly. I can't even believe it, but we still have time before Christmas to continue to grow in our faith, and especially before the new calendar year, just being able to wrap up our loose ends, stay positive, stay focused, and goal-oriented heading into 2019. I hope you are all having a great start to the week. And my question for today is, has there been anything that has been sticking out for you during this Advent season? For instance, like me, how these certain things kind of came to mind and hit me this past week. Has there been anything for you that you've learned or just something that hit you in a different way or with a new perspective this year? I'd love to hear it down below. As always, thank you for watching. Be sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more videos, and have a wonderful day. It's always weird when like your neighbors are watching.